Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I just randomly decided today that I wanted to film a pinky look because I never do pink. And I found this old dress that I've not even worn. I've had it for like 3-4 years and I've never worn it. It was in the sale in Zara and it's a fluffy pink dress. So I thought, why not? Let's go into that kind of springy, cutesy vibe and do a little pinky look. So I went to Sephora in Westfield a couple of days ago, and the main reason I wanted to go in there was to look at Haus Labs, which is Lady Gaga's brand, if a few of you haven't heard of it. I've already been absolutely loving these new Glassy blush balms. I was really lucky to have got sent 4 of the shades, but I already had the Haus Labs foundation. I just guessed the colour. I got the shade 330 and this is what I've put on before starting. The only reason I put this on was because I have been to the gym and I didn't want to wash my whole face to restart. So I've actually just layered on top of my daily tint with the Haus Labs foundation. I do really love this foundation. The texture, the coverage is phenomenal. I just wasn't sure on the colour, but I've just put Body Glow on and it kind of works without anything on at the moment. Once I get the concealer and bronzer and stuff, it will all work really well. Before I continue into the makeup, I just wanna give you a rough kind of like idea as to what this foundation and finish is like. So I would say it is a medium to full coverage. It's quite a nice, it's a thick consistency, but also very skincare-like. So it still doesn't have that feeling of like that heaviness on the skin. I would say the shade 330 is quite olive. It's got a real kind of like olivey undertone. So sometimes when I first put it on, it looks almost green against my skin, but it doesn't once it's on. It looks beautiful once it's on. The few times that I've worn this, I haven't set it with powder and it's just lasted really nicely through the day, just got a really nice soft glow as the day has gone on. But I would suggest if you get a little bit more oily, then definitely, God, I've been leaning on my arm, definitely use a powder to set it. But overall, a really beautiful foundation. There is a very, very, very big shade range. So I would suggest trying to maybe go onto foundation.com to enter some of your old like foundation colors that you love, just to see what one they suggest the most. I guessed and it works fine, but I think there's also probably another 3 shades that would also work for me, and then also something for when I get more tanned in the summertime. When I get warmer, I'd probably need another shade as well. But really, really love this, and I actually do want to put it into my kit because I think I'm just at a point with my kit that I wish I could have everything. Like, my kit is so heavy at the moment, but I really wish I could have so many different foundations in it. This is one of them. It's obviously not the cheapest and it's a heavy bottle. But yeah, it's like a black pump with this beautiful silver embossed lid, which the blushers also have. But yeah, overall, just beautiful quality products, like the whole brand. And I think I'm slowly being sold into wanting to get more. The concealer feels amazing as well. I should have bought it the other day, but I didn't. So anyway, let's move on. So since I don't have the Haus Labs concealer, I'm going to use my Huda Beauty Faux Filter concealer. This is the shade Graham Cracker. I just feel like the consistency of this is closer to the texture of the Haus Labs concealer when I've tested it in the store. I've been really on a budget at the moment, so I didn't want to buy the concealer, which I should have. And also, this foundation is a full coverage, so me putting concealer in these areas isn't a need. Nobody needs to do this. I just, because of the foundation colour, I want to just brighten and lift all these areas. So I'm going to use my Kaya F13 brush. I'm really loving this for foundation at the moment. I really switch up between brushes for foundation, so it really just depends on my mood. I go through stages, but you can see that that shade of concealer is just neutralizing it a little more and brightening in the areas. So my skin has broken out a little. I'm aware it's not extremely bad, but especially around this area, I bought some new Korean skincare, and as with anything, when it's the first time using it, sometimes the skin can just have a little reaction. It was already quite sensitive before I used the new stuff, so I think I just need to give it a minute. I'm also nearing the time of the month, so my skin does usually break out a little. Look at the difference when you brighten and highlight that area. So I did start off using my Prada brush, which is really good for like pressing and really pushing it into these areas. I do love this brush, but there's something nice about using a fluffier, softer brush. This one is the Sigma F03. It's meant to be a highlighter brush. As I've said before, I don't always use the brushes where they say they should be used. I like to use my own initiative and try them in different areas. So I'm just going to go back in with that foundation brush and just merge everything together. I'm in completely natural daylight and it's a really nice day today, so I thought let's make the most of it. I know studio lights are what we're used to seeing, but I just think sometimes when I can try and show you in like completely natural lights, it is just a little bit more realistic. But I will at some point get some studio lights back in. So I have mentioned this before. I like to just sometimes melt in the concealer with my fingers. It really does just look that little bit more blended. I'm due my eyebrow and upper lip threading, and this is actually sometimes why I avoid filming, and it's because I don't get them done that often anymore. I just stopped going to get them done as often as I used to, and it's obviously saving me money. But the problem with it is it's not making me feel good. Like, it's honestly, I need to get on top of it. I know a lot of you can relate, but honestly, the maintenance that us women have to keep up with, especially if you're really into it, like this is my life. It's ridiculous, guys. I can't keep up. Right, my skin gets really sensitive, so you can see like I didn't even carry anything. I don't know why I'm red there. I'm red on my shoulder. Just constant. Okay, I've just gone back over the brows. I'm also just going to go back into contouring my lips with the Makeup by Mario liquid bronzers. So I watch a lot of other makeup artists YouTube channels, and one that I was watching the other day was actually Hindash. If none of you have heard of him, I would check him out. He's a great artist. He's so creative, and I relate to him on so many levels because like I used to basically draw eyebrows on paper over and over again, and he said that he used to do the same thing. He said he always used to draw eyebrows and eyes, and that was my thing. So like I love that when I watch him. But he basically used a contour powder to contour the lips, which I thought was such a good idea. It was a contour powder from his own line, but yeah, I just thought, okay, maybe next time I need to buy a contour powder that would work, not a bronzer, but this works really well anyway. So for the eyes, I thought I would use the Huda Beauty Cool Matte Obsessions palette so that we get these really nice cool tone pinks. Huda is great at this shade range. I feel like a lot of her palettes have a lot of these colors in. I'm like craving to do those kind of like burgundies and pinks. I wanted to do a pink look for Valentine's, but I actually went against it and I stuck with what I really, really love and what I really wanted to do at the time, which was a classic kind of brown, black, smoky eye. So today we're gonna do the pinky look. It is the end of February, we're going into March. Let's hope that spring is on its way. It's sunny outside, the weather's started to change, and I can't find the makeup brush that I want. I'm using my trusty Tropic brush. This is, once again, I always use it, the EB6 brush. And I'm going to just dip into these 2 shades here. And I think basically I'm going to just use it all. I really like to mix my shades. So if I just show you, I'll probably go into these 3 to begin with. And these will be my transition shades. I personally love an all matte eyeshadow palette. I really think that every eyeshadow palette should just be matte, and then any shimmers should be like your separate additional colour. But I want this to go quite high up as always. And this is going to be a really nice matte kind of mauvey pink eye. I mean, that's really nice because it's neutral already. Such pretty colours. A lot of my brushes are really well loved. Just using those lighter shades of pink, the lightest ones in the palette, just to go right into those edges and blend them out. So you can see the texture under my brow, just because, like I said, I'm not maintaining my threading lately. And my appointment isn't for another couple of days. Into this warmer, kind of more berry shade. And I'm gonna add a little bit of that more mauvey purple shade as well. Get that berry shade right in the crease. And focus it on this outer edge. And then I'm gonna go back in with the bigger, fluffier brush. Just so it diffuses those edges. We never want it to look like any harsh lines. So although my eyes have an almond shape, they also have quite a deep set socket. So as I get older, this might be an area that I don't want to enhance the darkness as much. So if you have deep set eyes, shading into that socket where it's already quite sunken will obviously make it look more sunken. If you don't want your eyes to look like that, then try and avoid using the darker shades in that crease and use lighter shades to bring it forward. I don't mind at the moment. I do actually quite like enhancing the crease, but it really does just depend on my mood. But over time, it might be something I want to do less of. My mum's always had really deep set sockets. And also it's really interesting because my mum did fashion and art, and she's really creative. One thing I always remember is her artwork and her illustrations of like fashion, and all of the girls had these huge deep set socket eyes. Like, she was actually phenomenal at her work. I need to try and like show you guys. But so when I think of deep set socket, I always think of my mum's work and my mum's eyes, and so yeah, I really think they're beautiful and they just can be amazing. So if you've got deep set sockets, guys, I think they are absolutely beautiful. I think every eye shape is stunning. We're so used to just seeing like one look all over Instagram and all over the internet nowadays. It's like we start to hone in on ourselves and think that things aren't normal when actually we are. So I'm going to use the more pastel colour pinks on the bottom lash line. And I'm using my Prada brush again. This is the 05 brush. Oh, I love these pastel pinks. So, so pretty. Whenever I'm doing a full makeup look on myself, I just can't do it without this shading under the eye. The only time I don't do this is when I'm just wearing my tint without concealer. The minute I put concealer on, it doesn't feel right having the concealer go right up to my lash line. So yeah, I really love just adding the shadow underneath. That pastel pink is really pretty. I'm also going to put that, I'm going to use the same brush on my eyelid. And both of those pastel-y pinks, I might even add a little of that middle one, but these 2 lighter ones, and I'm going to use them on the eyelid. When I do my looks here with you on YouTube, and just in general when I do looks on myself, I actually don't use an eye base. That is purely because I'm not too bothered about my eye makeup kind of looking a little bit less perfected. My eyelids don't generally get that oily, so everything kind of stays in place. I don't use anything on my eyelid, just a bit of concealer on my brow bone when I'm doing a full look. But if you're someone who gets an oily eyelid or likes to kind of neutralize your eyelid before applying any makeup, then still go ahead and use your eye base. I like to use the 24-hour eye base from MAC or the Urban Decay Magic Potion primer, eye primer, and that is what I use on my clients as well. But obviously for myself, there's just no need, and a lot of these times I'm doing these looks for YouTube, so I don't really care so much about the staying power. Just going to keep blending out so that we have this pastel kind of purpley pinky tone. I'm going to go in with my smaller Zoeva 237 Detail Shader, warmer pink tone again. I'm just going to line that really close to this lash line. And I'm going to keep that on this outer edge. I just went back in and touched up my mascara. This is the Sweed Beauty Pro Lash Lift Mascara. It's so easy to go over with a second layer once it's dry. Like it feels like it's like solid, but it builds really nicely on top of another layer. So that was just the dark brown one. And I'm going to start doing my bronzing and contouring. So for my bronzing, I'm going to use my Kaya BB stick. I think this is, yeah, BB stick in the shade 50W. It works actually really well as a bronzer contour. It's a really, really nice shade. And this has been my go-to for a while now. I think a few of you have seen this. The sun is slowly coming round, so really I need to work fast because it'll be too bright. You can see it on my arm. So we're just gonna lift those cheekbones. It's also really good for my nose contour. So I'm using the other end of my Tropic brush, which I rave about all the time. And let's just contour the hell out of this. So I have to contour the nose because of this one side of my nose is always more swollen. And we're just going to buff this bronzer in. I'm not going to be too perfect with this because the House Labs blusher is literally star of the show for me at the moment. So we will be adding it into this, and then I'll probably come back to perfect the bronzer. Gonna go along the jawline as well. I'm gonna have to start my lip before I do the blusher because I cannot look at myself without it. So here we go. Using the shade Spice Chai from Makeup by Mario. I wanted to frame out the lip with that warmer shade, and then I'm using Huda Beauty Muted Pink all over the lip. Can you see that sun is coming round? Oh, star of the show. These blushers are so nice. So originally I was putting them straight on the cheeks, and actually they work really nicely when you just get it on straight onto the brush. I literally can't see anything on this camera right now. All I know is I look very pink. Pink vibes. Okay. Sun is shining in. You're seeing the glow, the natural skin texture. The pinks in this palette are much more like lilac-y than I want. I always want, when I imagine like a baby pink on me, I imagine a baby pink that doesn't turn purple, and they always turn purple. I just want like a baby pink that's got the warmth to it, that really like candy baby pink. Anyway, let me powder this down. I'm going to use my trusty Huda Beauty Easy Bake. So this is the shade Banana Bread. gonna frame out the jawline here as well. Easy Bake and Snatch pressed powder. This is Cherry Blossom Cake because I want to add that slightly pinkier finish around the eye. So this will be a really nice way to brighten and lift. The sun is coming in, so I'm going to have to lean back, which is annoying because that means the camera is going to be further away. But I'm using my Kaya Cosmetics Glow Bronzer in the shade Antigua just to set where we've already done our liquid bronzer. That extra glow gets it in but doesn't take away from that glow that the cream bronzer leaves. Kind of like it when you're in this sunlight. So I'm going back in with Muted Pink. Shade 109 by Giorgio Armani. This is the Lip Power. I just think it's really pretty. It's a really nice neutral pink. I'm so sorry about the extreme sunlight that's decided to come out. I'm gonna add in my beauty spots again. This beauty spot when I was younger always used to bleed, which is scary when you think about it, but it's fine. It's been there since I was a kid. Just going back into all these areas since the sun is shining on me. Oh my god guys, as if the sun has come in full force halfway through this video. Thank you, sunlight, for coming and showing your face when England has been grey for months. This is so nice to have this. Okay. I'm gonna have to end it here because the sun is coming round full force, and although this is beautiful and I'm in full-blown golden hour, you can't actually see the makeup as well, but you can see how it looks in the sunlight and how this pretty pink colour could still work. I'm actually going to use the UUU-Baby gloss just to add to that. You don't have to do a gloss if you don't want, but I really enjoy a gloss at the moment. This is the look in golden hour. Really pretty, soft pinks. Not my usual go-to, but can we just appreciate how beautiful these House Labs blushes are? You don't need a highlight. You don't need anything. It just kind of just does everything in one go. And I'm sorry, but I'm obsessed with like wet look, glowy looking skin. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video in this beautiful sunlight. This is making me really happy. Thank you so much for watching again and for all of your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and I will see you next time.